Hey guys, I'm No Sleeves 12. Today I want to discuss which stats to look for each position in Hockey Ultimate Team. Something I keep getting asked about quite a bit lately is what stats do you prioritize when looking for certain cards and, maybe trying to break a tie between a few different ones that you're trying to purchase or look into. And I'm going to make a video today trying to help with that. So let's jump into what I look for when it comes to each position in Hockey Ultimate Team. So first things first, let's start with Centerman. Now, center's pretty easy because, well, what's his face-off rating is pretty much the blanket one to go after. Now, obviously, Taves has 99, so that's why he's still currently the best, although not by much. But after that, what do you look for when it comes to centers? Now, the thing that I want to say the most is more than any other forward position, size matters the most on centerman. Having smaller centerman isn't necessarily good, and the reason for it is when you're cycling in the offensive zone, a lot of the overload, crash the net, even behind the net, has the centerman in the slot, and if they're smaller, they're going to get bumped and things like that. It's very hard for them to get position. That's why having a big centerman is super important. So after face-off, really you want to have size as the next thing. After size, you want to make sure he's like over 6 foot, nothing crazy. And it doesn't mean that smaller centermen are bad. It just means that it's what I look for a prototypical centerman. After that, speed, obviously, it's the least important among the forward positions because you're not streaking down the wing a lot of the time. You obviously can have a little bit less speed when compared to the other positions because, well, you're going to be bringing it out and lugging the puck up. More importantly, when it comes to centerman, would be passing, and the reason for it is because you're probably going to pass a lot with your centerman more than you would with your winger. After that, something that I look for personally is hand-eye, and the reason for it is I use a lot of D-to-D one-timers. Not a lot of people cover the points correctly, and if you have good defensemen on your HUT team or in versus, hand-eye is really, really good for tips in front. Again, this is super in-depth, but again, just something I look for when it comes to centerman cards. That's why I kind of love Joel Lundqvist, because he's got the 99 slap shot power. His accuracy is a little bit lower, but all of his other stats like hand-eye, deking, passing, and then his face-off being a 95 just kind of, fits the bill, and he's just at 6 foot 200, which is, kind of the minimum for that good size among centermen. But so if I were to rank them again, it would be face-offs and then size and then passing. And as long as you want to make sure that he has decent speed. You can't just completely forget about speed. But after that, slap shot more than wrist shot because, well, they're the ones in the slot that are going to take those huge, heavy clappers. So, again, guys, that would be for centermen specifically. Now, for wingers, is a little bit different, okay? I'm going to use Howie Morenz as a perfect example here. He's pretty much a, 0.5 goal per game guy for me, which when you consider everything else, all the other good cards on my team, he's the one I score easily the most with, and the few factors as to why. When it comes to wingers, the thing I look for the most, I don't really care about size all that much because the way I play, this is going to pertain to how you play. If you use puck possession and time on attack a ton, smaller wingers aren't really going to work well for you. But if you like to go end-to-end, rush really fast, and kind of beat them down the boards, speed is 100% the most important stat for wingers because they will give you those options to get into the middle for short side wristers or at least get the puck deep, give you those options to streak down low and get into the offensive zone. After that, it's wrist shot. I don't take a ton of slap shots with my wingers. It's a lot of wrist shots, so I prioritize wrist shot far more among my wingers than I do my centermen, and it's obvious short side wristers is one of the go-to moves, and having a winger with, an absolute glitch of a shot like Howie Morenz is why he does so well. Deking as well, I find important. With wingers, again, you can do a lot of good when you're streaking down the zone and do a nice deke. It'll give you that, that easy play into the zone and things like that. So when it comes to wingers, I would go speed, then wrist shot, then size, then deking. After that, it doesn't really matter. You can just, go with whatever. Next up, we've got defense. So defense is a little bit different. There's really only two stats I care about, and that's speed because I want to be able to make sure I can keep up with whoever I'm playing against, and then slap shot because, well, slap shot is, from the point, if you have someone good like Lassi Kukkonen, you can do a ton of damage from the point, whether it be goals or tips. I get a ton of tip-in goals because, again, paired with a good centerman that has hand-eye, I found it really effective in at least in NHL 20. So after slap shot and speed, Size really does matter for defensemen. It helps you block people off at the line. You can bump guys off the puck when they're cycling it down low. Size is very important for a defenseman. It's more important than shot, in my opinion, just because having a nice shot is fine and dandy, but you can get away with not being able to blast one in from the point. And again, you can just shoot for tips and aim along the ice. So that isn't super key. So when it comes to defensemen, it's size and speed. Those are two of the most important. After that, stick checking is very important, as someone with the better stick checking stat is going to allow you to poke the puck free without taking a penalty and things like that a lot better. And then finally, after that, passing would be the next one. You're in depth at that point, but being able to break the puck out cleanly and accurately is super important from a defenseman. So just to recap for defensemen, it's speed, then size, then slap shot, stick checking, and passing. Those are the only ones I really care about. Body checking, obviously important, but if you've got someone who's big, you can bump them off the puck regardless. So, and then finally, goaltender. So goalie's pretty easy. I don't really look at stats. It's pretty much just size and overall rating. I will say this, having spoken with a developer in regards to goaltenders at the beginning of the year, I asked Ben Ross, what is it? What's better? The age-old question: is it size like Ben Bishop or someone who's rated really high? When you have a guy that's rated really high, they are going to make frame-by-frame saves better. So someone with a better glove high is going to be able to make those saves literally like frames faster than someone who doesn't. But someone who's gigantic, it'll hit off their shoulder or arm because, it's just they're bigger and it will, it'll just hit them because of the angle that they're on. So when it comes to goaltenders, there's really two things. You want to find the middle ground. Someone over 6'2" and over 90 overall, going to be the best goaltender in the game. In my opinion, Carey Price always ends up being the best. So the highest rated Carey Price is usually what I would strive for. But whatever Ben Bishop works, this Patrick Waugh, while his goals against average is brutal for me now, it's just because of my inconsistent play. He's been one of the better goalies because they'll make the desperation saves a lot better. So in my opinion, when it comes to goaltenders, it's size, then synergies, and then rating. That's really when it comes down to goaltender, because the best goaltender is someone who knows how to play defense. So that's it for goaltenders. So guys, I hope that clears things up when it comes to looking for certain cards and whatnot and the stats you actually want to pay attention to. Too many people just look at speed and shot, but the other ones in the background really do matter, and you can find some gems. The lower rated overall icons, have some really good cards like that. For example, the Mike Pekka, or the 83 overall Mike Pekka, had 99 faceoffs and really good defensive stats, and was really speedy. So you can really find some cheap cards that are really good if you use and look for these stats, because certain ones are definitely more important than others when it comes to making your team. So guys, I hope this helps. Let me know in the comments section down below, and please subscribe if you like the content. I'm No Sleeves 12. Have a good one, guys.